Hi. I think that the New Adventures of Batman is one of the better Batman cartoon shows, in my personal opinion. And I am talking about the New Adventures of Batman, not the New Batman Adventures. It's very easy to get that mixed up, very similar titles. The New Adventures of Batman, I think it's a 1977 cartoon show. And short run, I think just had 16 episodes, but I really like the New Adventures of Batman. To be fair, there is a nostalgia thing where it was one of the more family friendly versions of Batman, so it was one of the easier ones for me to watch as a kid, and I did watch it quite a bit, especially for a show that had a very short run. So there's some episodes of it that I've seen a lot of times. But I do think it's a really fun cartoon show, really entertaining. Very much feels like classic Batman comics and feels somewhat similar to the 1960s live action Batman show. It actually has uh, the voices of Adam West and Burt Ward. So that's really cool. And I think that they add a lot of personality and charm to the cartoon show and help it have some classic Batman feelings. And it does change things up from previous Batman shows by having Batmite in it. And Batmite in the comics and in stuff like Batman the Brave and the Bold feels very much like a supporting character that doesn't appear that often, but I think that Batmite is in every episode of the New Adventures of Batman. I think he's in all 16 episodes, and I don't even think Batgirl was in all 16 episodes, where she appeared in, I think, around half of the episodes, but uh, there were some that she wasn't in. And giving Batmite so much screen time, I can understand that being a divisive decision, and not a lot of people liking that. I wouldn't want Batmite to be in every episode of most Batman shows, but for what the New Adventures of Batman is, where it feels like quite possibly the most family friendly Batman cartoon show ever made, unless you count Bat Whales, which I think that counts as kind of something different because I mean Batman characters are in it, but Batman himself isn't the protagonist of it. But like for shows where Batman himself is the lead, the New Adventures of Batman does feel the most family friendly, and I think Batmite works well in the show. And personally, as a kid, I thought that Batmite was a really charming addition to Batman. I liked him in the comics, and I really liked him in the New Adventures of Batman, and I think that he actually adds a lot to it. He is a very good character. I can understand why other people would think he was annoying, but I really like the version of him, the New Adventures of Batman, where he feels like he's trying to do some good stuff and occasionally is helpful, but does get in the way a lot, but is a very funny comedy relief and is a very good character. There is some weird stuff like Batmite being in every episode as far as I can remember, but I don't think Alfred's actually in the New Adventures of Batman at all, which I do feel confused about. I mean, it's not like Batmite is replacing Alfred's role. I mean, Alfred, like the mentor father figure, older guy that Batman Robin could trust, so I don't get him not being there. That is weird. And the Bat computer does talk to Batman, somebody for Batman to talk to. That's also kind of weird. To give the Bat computer make the Bat computer kind of a character, I guess it's okay. Batgirl, I think her voice is done by Melanie Britt, who later went on to be She-Ra. So that's awesome. Uh, the villains are a lot of fun in the New Adventures of Batman. I love a classic feeling, over the top, campy Joker. I get tired of Jokers that feel like they're trying to compete to see who can be the most hard edged, do the scariest, most intense stuff. I like a really fun, outlandish Joker, and he is very entertaining. Adventures of Batman. So is the Penguin. The Penguin is delightful. And I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of Body Switch episodes, but the New Adventures of Batman is one of my favorite Body Switch episodes of any show. Um, and that was a lot of fun. Clayface is there, and never been a huge Clayface fan, but I mean, I think it's his first adaptation in a TV show, so I mean, I guess that's cool. Of course, Catwoman's there, Mr. Freeze is there, and there are some villains that I think are new villains, not from the comics, and there's some pretty entertaining ones. There's Sweet Tooth, a candy-themed villain who is ridiculous. I think purposely so, to be fair, and is a lot of fun. I really like his episode. And there's Professor Bubbles, who I don't hear talked about as much as Sweet Tooth, but Professor Bubbles is ridiculous. I love his voice. I love his over the top happy villain expressions. He's so much fun. I wish so badly that Professor Bubbles was back, because I don't think I've ever seen Professor Bubbles even have little cameos and stuff. And I would love to see Professor Bubbles come back in some way. And I do want him to have a speaking role, though, not just like in the background or something, because he has a hilarious voice. I love Professor Bubbles. So the cartoon show is a lot of fun. Some episodes are better than others. Catwoman and Clayface are kind of just okay in the show, not as fun as the other villains, so there is that. But overall, I really like the New Adventures of Batman, and I don't think there are any awful episodes or anything like that. Just some episodes aren't as exciting and memorably funny as some other episodes, but it's hard to get objective about these things, and I don't really want to get objective, but subjectively speaking, New Adventures of Batman is one of my favorite Batman cartoon shows, and has what's so far my favorite adaptation of Batmite. In terms of Batman himself, the Adam West Batman in it feels similar enough to the Adam West Batman from the original show. I can't. I don't feel like I can say that it surpasses it or anything, but it is good. And I do love the Joker and the Penguin in the New Adventures of Batman. Not to the same level as the live action versions, but I think Lenny Weinrib did really good work, and I think he voiced almost all of the villains, so that's really cool. So I think the New Adventures of Batman is a good, underrated Batman cartoon show.